HOA president reported my backyard range didn't realize I'm a retired federal firearms officer. The late summer sun hung low over Maplewood Lane, bathing the cul-de-sac in a honeyed glow that did little to ease the tension simmering in my backyard. I'd spent 30 years as a federal firearms officer, training agents, diffusing crises, and upholding the law. Retirement was supposed to be quiet time to tinker with my vintage rifles and maintain the small, legal shooting range I'd built behind my house. But Karen Whitaker, the HOA president, had other plans. It started with a letter, crisp and accusatory, slid under my door. Unauthorized firearm activity in my backyard, it claimed, was a violation of HOA rules. Karen, with her manicured nails and self-righteous smirk, had reported me to the county without so much as a conversation. She didn't know who I was. She didn't care. To her, I was just the grizzled retiree who didn't mow his lawn often enough. I invited her over to talk. Big mistake. She showed up with Tim, a jittery neighbor who'd moved in last spring, trailing behind her like a reluctant puppy. Karen's voice was sharp as she gestured at my Ranhea modest setup with sandbags, a steel target, and a backstop I'd engineered to exceed federal safety standards. "This is a family neighborhood, Mr. Callahan," she snapped. "Your guns scare people." "Ma'am," I said, keeping my tone even. "This range is legal, inspected, and safer than your kid's trampoline." I pointed to the permits framed in my garage. Tim shifted uncomfortably, his eyes flicking between us. Karen's face reddened. "I've already reported you," she said. "The county's coming tomorrow." That's when the air thickened. I stepped closer, not threatening but firm. "You reported me without checking who I am? I trained the people who write those laws, Karen. I spent decades keeping folks like you safe." Her eyes widened, but she doubled down. "Rules are rules," she hissed. Tim muttered something about just wanting peace. But neither of us heard him. The next morning, the county inspector arrived a young guy named Rodriguez, who, to my surprise, recognized me from a training seminar I'd led years ago. "Mr. Callahan," he said, shaking my hand. "Your range is textbook. No violations." Karen, lurking by her mailbox, looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. I thought that was the end of it. But Karen wasn't done. 2 days later, I found a petition taped to my door, signed by half the neighborhood, demanding I dismantle the range. "For the children," it read. My blood boiled. I'd protected the children my whole career, missed birthdays, worked nights, took risks. Now I was the villain? I called a neighborhood meeting at the community center. Karen strutted in, armed with her petition and a PowerPoint. I brought my permits, my service record, and a quiet resolve. The room buzzed with whispers as I laid out my case. The range was legal, safe, and my right. Karen countered, her voice shrill, accusing me of intimidating the community. Tim, sitting in the back, looked miserable. Then came the twist. Mrs. Delaney, an 80-year-old widow who rarely spoke, stood up. Her voice trembled but carried. "Mr. Callahan saved my grandson," she said. The room fell silent. 10 years ago, he trained the agent who stopped a shooter at my Tommy school. "You call him dangerous? He's a hero." Eyes turned to Karen, who faltered, her petition suddenly flimsy. The vote was close, but the range stayed. I thought I'd won. But victory tasted bitter. Neighbors avoided me. Karen's car sported a gun-free zone sticker. Tim stopped waving. The community I'd fought for felt fractured, and my quiet retirement was gone. A month later, I sold the house. Not because I had to, but because I couldn't live among people who saw me as a threat. As I packed, Mrs. Delaney left a pie on my porch with a note. "You're still our hero." I drove away, the range dismantled, my heart heavy with the cost of standing my ground. What would you do when your rights clash with your community's fears? Share your thoughts on justice, rules, and reconciliation.